Check. The grills in my mouth double as a freeze. The grills.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose. not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams.
What up? What up? What's happening again, fam? What's good, man? Been a little minute. Early on Friday. Happy holiday. Happy holiday. Islam, Islam. Friday is a holy day for all Muslims. They say Friday was the day that man was spirit in the flesh, and Friday was the day that man departed out of the flesh, thus making this day holy for all Muslims and Muslims around the world. Islam, Islam, Islam. Islam. In Arabic, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim alhamdulillah. Illa Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Islam, Moors. And in true fashion, Islam, Moors, in true fashion, I just want to say, this the right way. I want to first rise, give praise and honor to Allah. And I bear witness that He is alone, He has no partners or no equals. I give honor to all the prophets of Allah and to all His apostles. I give honor to the Messiah, the Anointed One. I give honor to the Mahdi, the Guide. I give honor to the Mujenta, the Reformer, who all were sent forth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give honor to Noble Jew Ali and the Harbinger, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Islam, Islam, Islam. All right. Protocol out of the way. Y'all checked in early today. Appreciate that. And hopefully I got everybody those who emailed me the PowerPoint. If I missed you, I sent an email blast about 15 minutes ago of everybody who cashed at me their email. You guys should have that PowerPoint. If I happen to miss you, check your spam first, check your junk folder. Let me know if you did not receive that email. Let me know if you didn't receive the email, and I'll we send it back out. But I think I got everybody. I most certainly thought I had everybody. Give me a second and I'll post my email. Bruce Lee Bruce Lee got the paper and pencil ready. Pen and pad game, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Islam. The L's and the Bays of the wheels and the ways. Mother Empress is in the building. High vibration. My boy Rob in the building. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good? Kansas City Mo in the building. Kansas City. Young Payola, always holding your boy down in the comments, man. Always got my back. Keep me honest, Young Payola. Keep me honest today. As I try to sojourn through this information, keep me honest in the comment, brother. Keep me in check. Do bounds. Appreciate you checking in. Big Brian, what's going on, bro? Appreciate you, man. Salute, salute, salute. Light and love, high vibrations, grand rising. We woke, man. We is woke. We is woke. We is woke. We is woke in this bitch. All right. So I got a feeling we're gonna get a couple more people checking in. So what I want to do is go ahead and segue to the first part of this demonstration. And of course, I'm gonna yield the floor over to the Grand Master Teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York. I'm gonna yield the floor to Dr. York for about 5 minutes or so. Take notes on what Dr. York puts forth. We are dealing with the three ruffian sons of Yaqub, sons of Jacob. I don't want people to get too lost in the translation of what you're thinking we're going to talk about, because it may be, something totally different. I do want you guys to keep in mind before we start. Hold on. Let me get my shit together. Hold on. Before we get started, right? Take notes. I want you guys to write down 3 things for me real quick. D Nice, peace and light. Peace and light. We see you, D Nice. I want you guys to write down 3 things for me real quick. Write down the word 3 ruffians. 3. I'll put it in the comments for you too. 3 ruffians. Then write down 3 sons of Jacob. Write down 3 ruffians and write down 3 sons of Jacob. All right. Now, the first 3 sons of Jacob being Simon, Reuben, and Levi. Simon, Reuben, and Levi. The first 3 sons of Jacob. We got that written down. Now, we're going to also learn about 3 other names, 3 alluded names, and then 3 of the original names of these so-called 3 ruffians. If you've never heard the 3 ruffians before about Freemasonry, it's okay. We're going to dig a little bit into Freemasonry, at least the Blue Lodge. The Blue Lodge of Freemasonry. Well, fuck it. I guess we can just jump right into it because I'll go back to Dr. York in a second. Hold on, let me get my shared screen together. As you can see by the depiction in the back, that's the direction we're going to go in right quick. So the 3 ruffians, as this picture depicts right here in front of us, this one, you see an older gentleman. You see an older gentleman standing in the middle. Make my screen bigger. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. You see an older gentleman standing in the middle of a young lady to his left, a gentleman to his right, and there's a guy on the ground stretched out in the shape of crucifixion with all white on. That's what you see before you right there. When you put in 3 ruffians into Google, this is the imagery. Some of the imagery that comes up. What you do not see that I see in the picture, because I understand the science, I understand the math, I understand what time it is. I actually understand what is going on. My point today is to bring you up to speed, because in this game, they operate through signs and symbols. Signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. Signs and symbols are for the conscious mind. Everything is between signs and symbols, symbology, colors, so on and so forth. So in this picture, what you should be seeing, I'm going to show you 2 parts of what you're seeing. Again, you see the person on the ground. There's a young guy we can suspect to be standing at the top of his head, and a young lady with white on, and there's an older man in the middle right there. Watch this. Watch I make the older man. Now, this is 3 ruffians. I should write that down a little bit earlier. 3 ruffians. If you Google the 3 ruffians, this is what's going to come up. I'm going to explain the picture, then we're going to get into the science. Watch this. I'm going to put in Masonic broken column. Masonic broken column. You see that old man and that young lady appear again? Masonic broken column. The old gentleman, the picture's in the background. The gentleman in the middle, the young lady, the gentleman standing over top of the body. This is the old man and the lady. This represents Father Time. This picture represents Father Time. And the Virgin weeping at the column represents Virgo, the Virgin. Now the man with the sickle in his hand also represents Saturn. The Saturn and Venus at the broken column. This is called the Masonic broken column. I'm gonna go back. You put in 3 ruffians, this is the imagery you're gonna receive. This is a scene from the Masonic initiation. This is the scene right here. In this particular scene, they supposedly are attacking. They're supposedly attacking, yes sir, Saturn and Venus. Chad Bay, peace and light, brother. The picture in the middle is representing the assault of Hiram Abiff. That's another name. Now, all the names I'm giving you to write down. You have to do your research on these names. Hiram Abiff. It's Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff. It's an important name to write down. Now, for those of you that may watch the video or watch the video to think like, who is this joker? Is he qualified to tell us what he's telling us? I don't know. You tell me in my comment. It's me in the center, by the way. So I'm more than qualified to talk about this information. And I don't believe in secrets. I'm going to tell you something sacred that you should keep secret. That's what I'm going to do for you. Islam? All right. So the scene is depicting a candidate being roughed up, but the scene is being reenacted of the story of a gentleman by the name of Hiram Abiff. So write down Hiram Abiff. It's important. I'm gonna start talking about Hiram Abiff. I'm gonna talk about Hiram of Tyre. I'm gonna talk about Soliman. I'm gonna talk about the Queen of the South. So a lot of you guys, if you're Masons or Eastern Stars or familiar with the language, it's gonna be a real easy conversation. For those of you who are completely fucking lost, it's okay. Take notes, and I promise you can have a conversation with any literate Master Mason on the information if he is willing to have a conversation with you. All right. Okay. We got you. Is Hiram Abiff symbolic for Jesus, the black sun risen up through the chambers? Not really. Or you could correlate the Jesus narrative with Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff is more sort of story about the supposed Negroes in America who were buried in the northern country or northeast corner of the planet, aka America, and ready to be risen up by one with the grip and not the false word. We'll get to all that. I promise you. We're gonna hit all that shit. But in the picture, it's supposed to represent Hiram Abiff, who was legendary to be this master builder. Let's get into it. Hiram Abiff. Historical origin of the legend. Now, again, the story of Hiram Abiff can be found in the Book of Kings. This is really dealing with the narrative of Soliman. This is the first time we really hear about a Hiram of anybody. There have been many proposals for the origin of the Masonic Hiram Abiff story. They are all dismissed by most historical criticism. Masonic scholars, basically. The leading theory supported by many scholars of historical Freemasonry was advanced by the French Masonic historian Paul Newton, who in 2005 enlightened the similarities of the death of Hiram and the murder of Ronald de Montable, which was a legendary hero knight which appeared in the 12th century. So we're getting multiple stories about this Hiram Abiff. They say the most popular similarity from a French Masonic historian by the name of Paul Newton. What else we got? In 2021, Christopher Powell published a paper in the journal Q, Corinthian Lodge, which argued that John Philippothus the Largest, these names are crazy, likely authored the Hiram Abiff legend in the early 1720s and introduced it to most Master Mason degrees in his research. Powell noted that whatever that name is, the sluggers also introduced the lost word aspect of the Royal Arch degree. Now, keep reading, of the Royal Arch degree. which he likely read in a book he owned titled The Temple of Solomon, portrayed by scriptural light. If the word was to be found, it would need to be first lost. Hence the Hiram Abiff story. According to Paul DeLargelys, whatever that name is, that's a crazy name. As a Frenchman living in England would now have known the chance of whatever the fuck. Several stories. One thing that is partially true though. Those who think they're Master Masons or have been risen to the living perpendicular. I'm just talking about Blue House Masons, third degree Masons. You can run and tell who the fuck you want to tell. If you're just in the Blue House, if you're just a third degree Mason, you're not a Master Mason. I said it. I said it. I said it. Who y'all gonna run tell? Cut the fucking music off. Who y'all gonna run tell? If you're just a third degree Mason, anybody you know who's just a third degree Mason, they're not a Master Mason. Simply based on what this paragraph just said. And I can back my case up. This is saying that there's a lost word. In the next degree after the Blue House, something called the Royal Arch degree. Let me show y'all this shit. Let me show y'all this stuff. Degrees of Freemasonry. Some of y'all may or may not know it. If you know it, then you know it. If you don't know it, then hey, you don't know it. It's okay. So what happens is you're trying to find a regular fucking chart. They got charts everywhere. Okay. So what happens is, let me check. I can use this one right here. This was not that clear, but I can show you anyway. This is that bottom floor right there, at the very bottom, right there. Those are called the first 3 degrees. Those are called the first 3 degrees. And on those first 3 degrees, you have a, basically, let's start from the very zero floor. There's a candidate, an entered apprentice, a fellow craft, the Master Mason. Those are the 3 degrees of what's called the Blue Lodge or the Blue House. Right above, right here, you're going to see a symbol of a triangle and a thrice symbol in the center right there with a circle around it. That's what you're going to see. And that symbol is this is the symbol right here. It's called the triple Tyre. This is the symbol you're seeing right here. This is the triple Tyre. That's the next degree after Blue House. It's called the Red House. And the reason I make the correspondence by bringing up the first 3 sons of Jacob, I'm going to give you some more biblical names you should know that's associated with the rites and parts and arts of Freemasonry. For the blue degree, for the Blue Lodge, write down the word Blue Lodge. Under the word Blue Lodge, you're going to put Hiram, Hiram, of Tyre. Hiram of Tyre. Hiram of Tyre becomes an intricate character when Solomon is trying to construct the temple. The intricate character. Now write down Hiram Abiff. Hiram, Hiram, Abiff, Hiram Abiff. Under that, you're going to write King Solomon. King Solomon. Out beside the name King Solomon, you're going to write King David. Out beside King Solomon name, you're going to write King David. Now, here's something interesting. If you trace David all the way back through Jesse, back through Obed. You go all the way back to two other characters that also appears in the Masonic narrative, Ruth and Boaz. Now, Boaz was an Ishmaelite, not an Israelite. However, Ruth being that of the lineage of Moab. Now, who was Moab? Moab was the degenerate son of Lot and his ancestral fornication with his daughters. That's who Moab was. Let's continue. The raw art triple tie you. Now, right, you got Blue Lodge. Now, out to the side, write down the word Red Lodge or Red House. Write down the word Red House. Red House. Under the word Red House, you're going to write 3 other biblical names. And we can go through every degree, and I can show you how the Bible intertwines with every Masonic degree on purpose. And this is just a lodge. We haven't got to the OES chapters dealing with the sisters. Oh, it's deep, brother. So now under the Red House, you're going to write Hagar. 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 Zerubbabel. Don't worry. I'm about to go to it right now. You're like, I can't spell that shit. Zerubbabel. Hagar, Zerubbabel, and Joshua. This thing probably said, what the hell? Here we go. There you go. Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel. Joshua. Other name was Hagar. Right there. Hagar. Haggai. Hagar. So you got Hagar, Zerubbabel, and Joshua. Write their names down under the Red House. Under the Red House. Under the Red House. Write down those 3 names under the Red House. Hagar, Zerubbabel, and Joshua. Okay. Who is Zerubbabel in Hagar? Of the Davidic origin, Zerubbabel is thought to have originally been a Babylonian Jew who returned to Jerusalem at the head of the band of Jewish exile and became governor of Judea under the Persians. Influenced by the prophets Hagar and Zechariah, he rebuilt the temple. The temple was destroyed, by the way. The King Solomon's temple. We haven't got that far yet because I want to build you up to how the temple was constructed. This is where Freemasonry comes from. In First King, how many men did it take to build a temple? We're going to go into First King real quick because First King deals with the building of Solomon's temple. Now, on your piece of paper, you're going to write down the word first degree, or write the number 1 and put a degree symbol up top. Put first degree. Put first degree for me. Beside that, put second degree. And beside that, put third degree. So you should have 1 degree, 2 degree, and 3 degrees. Now the question is asked, how many workers did it take to build King Solomon's temple? It said 70,000 men. King Solomon decided to build a temple where the Lord would be worshipped, and also to build a palace for himself. He put 70,000 men to work transporting material, 80,000 to work quarrying the stone, and there were 3,600 others responsible for supervising the work. Now, under the first degree, you're going to put 80,000. On your paper, under first degree, put 80,000, or just put 80K. Under the word first degree, put 80K. Under the word second degree, put 70K. And of course, under the word third degree, put 3,600. There were 80,000 first degrees or entered apprentice. There were 70,000 second degrees or fellow crafts out there, and there was 3,600 master masons on the scene while Solomon's temple was being constructed. Those are those numbers. Put those numbers down. Put those numbers down. It's long. And while we all on here, everybody is here in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Let's just set the record straight while we on this shit. Let me just put it in my thing. Who was known as the Masonic Moor in history? Let's talk about the Masonic Moor just for like 2 seconds. He is known as the Masonic Moor. This brother's name, Angelo Soliman. He's known as the Masonic Moor. Angelo Soliman. Do you know what else? Angelo Soliman, born Mahdi Make, was an Austrian Freemasonry and a courtier. What is a courtier? A courtier is a person who attends royal courts of monarch or other royalty. The earliest historical example of courtiers were part of reunions of rulers. Very prestigious brother, Angelo Soliman. He achieved prominence in the Venice Society and Freemasonry. This brother right here with the turban. Hold on. Because y'all ain't seeing what I'm seeing. Hold on. Let me adjust myself to this brother. Here we go. This brother right here with the turban on his head. He's known as the Masonic Moor. Did y'all know that? Have y'all ever heard of this brother right here? Write his name down. Looks like Solomon, don't it? Let's read about his brother real quick. He was linked to a princely class of the Bornu Empire from Nigeria. He was taken captive as a child. He was sold into the household of Manasseh monarchs, who oversized education out of an affection for another servant household, Angela. He adopted his name, from his household, Angelina. He adopted his name, Angelo, and chose to recognize September 11th, his baptismal day. Okay. They say he was a cultured man. Solomon was highly respected in the intellectual circles of Vienna and counted as a valued friend of Australian Emperor Joseph II, Count Franz Mortiz Vanlees, as well as Prince Guyan Gaston de Madison. Solomon attended weddings of Emperor Joseph II, Prince Isabella of Parma as a guest of the emperor. So, bro, like he had a little pull, man. Look at the turban on his head. Check out the turban on his head. You don't let nobody tell you that Moors are not Masons and Masons are not Moors. We started this shit. So y'all cut the malarkey with there's no such thing as a Moor and a Mason and Masons and Moors. And I'm showing your brother who had on a turban and that was a Mason. He is the father of Freemasonic thought. He re-engineered the entire structure of the European Masonic organization. He did. In 1783, he joined the Masonic Lodge, True Concord, whose membership included many Vienna's influential artists and scholars at the time. Among them was Wolfgang Mozart, Amadeus Mozart, Joseph Haydn. It says lodge records indicate that Soliman and Mozart met on several occasions. Eventually, he became the Grand Master. Eventually, this brother right here became the Grand Master of the lodge in Europe. You see that? I'm not saying he's the first Grand Master, but he's a pretty big deal. If the Prince Hall brothers say that they got their charter from Europeans after this, may I add, after this fact. By the time Prince Hall Lodge got set up, he was already a Grand Master in Europe. And I'm bringing up Europe because Prince Hall Lodges take great pride in saying that they received their charter from Europeans. And anybody in Prince Hall Lodge and you don't teach about this brother right here, you're wrong. Anybody in the Moor Science Temple who don't teach about this brother, you're wrong. Why aren't we teaching about this brother? Let's go on. Right here, it says Soliman is still celebrated in Masonic Rite as the father of pure Masonic thought. He is celebrated as the father of pure Masonic thought. Mason by birthright, not by organization. Well, what I'm saying is this. Being a Mason is your birthright. We're all Masons. We're all master builders. Or at least should be. Master builders. All right. Let's get back to this topic. But I did want to share that with you guys, though. We got the three ruffians. These three ruffians also represents the first three sons of Jacob, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. We just learned about this scene. Now, well, we didn't learn about this scene, but let's go learn about this scene real quick. Hiram Abiff. Now, much of the Masonic story or narrative is, whether you realize it or not, is largely comprehended around this a couple of different characters, but there's one character named Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff is also known as the widow's son. The widow's son in the Homeric legend is that it is central to Freemasonry reference of Hiram Abiff, a widowed son of the tribe of Napata. 1 Kings chapter 7, 13 through 14. Now, the whole conversation we're about to have, I'm not going to break out no Masonic rituals. Hear me. Hear me good now. I'm not going to break out no Masonic rituals because that's against my obligation. I can't reveal that to you guys for whatever reason. I know what it is, and I could transliterate the information very easily to you guys to comprehend it. So it's not like a grand Masonic secret, but the information I'm sharing with you guys right now is public information. I'm just showing you how to connect the dots. All right. Now it says, He is one of the three masters. He is one of the three master masons who oversaw and built King Solomon's temple. Hiram Abiff. I told you to write Hiram Abiff down earlier. Now, what do the three ruffians represent? Under your ruffian column, the three ruffians represents ignorance, prudence, and greed. They are forces of evil that are constantly attempting to undo and defeat the forces of good. That's what the three ruffians represent: ignorance, prudence, and greed. And this is just general information, by the way. General information. Temperance. Well, I'm sorry. The three ruffians represents ignorance, prudence, and greed. Where does the story of Hiram Abiff come from? The legend of Hiram Abiff, as it relates to Angelo-American Masonic jurisdictions, underpins the third degree and first appears in the early 1720s. It generally starts with the arrival in Jerusalem and his appointed by Soliman as chief architect and master of works at the construction of his temple. What does Hiram Abiff name means? Strong concordance indicate the word Abiff translate to fatherless. Hiram Abiff of Masonic legend was the son of a widow, was from the tribe of Naphtha, and lived in Tyre. The building of King Solomon's temple.
According to study.com, according to the Hebrew Bible, the temple's construction was completed in the year 959 BCE, during the reign of King Solomon, the ruler of Israel. It stood for centuries before being demolished by the Neo-Babylonian Empire in 597 BCE during its conquest of Israel. The Temple of Solomon was a key site in ancient Israel.
King Solomon's temple. According to the Hebrew Bible, the temple construction was completed in the year 959 BCE during the reign of King Solomon, the ruler of Israel. It stood for centuries before being demolished by the Neo-Babylonian Empire in 597 BC during its conquest of Israel. The Temple of Solomon was a key site in ancient Israel. So write down King Solomon's temple 959 BCE, according to the Bible. This ain't nothing I'm saying, according to the biblical text. Who built King Solomon's temple and why? King Solomon, known as the determined builder, enlisted the support and stone masons to construct a temple on behalf of God's message to his father. Scriptures indicate the temple was later looted and destroyed in 586, 587 BCE by the Babylonians and King Nebuchadnezzar II. Nebuchadnezzar II. King Nebu. You know what? I don't want to take it there. I won't take it there. You want to write down Nebuchadnezzar's. Please feel free to write down Nebuchadnezzar's and go research Nebuchadnezzar's or King Nebu. King Nebu. That's a whole other narrative that I'm not gonna get into that. But look it up, please. So what we're doing is just kind of going over some points. Who was the builder of Solomon's temple? You see Hiram shows up again. A Hiram Abiff. Hiram is presented as the chief architect of King Solomon's temple. He was murdered inside this temple by three ruffians after they failed to obtain from him the master mason secret. So that we're gonna hit on that too. It's a lot of what's happening with a lot of these blue house masons and third degree masons. They're running around with a pretend password, and they're wondering why they don't have the information beyond what they know. For example, the signs and symbols that third degree mason would give doesn't yield past anything if you're of a higher degree. If you have that red house, remember I told you write down blue house, write down red house. Now, if you're in the red house, of course, you're in the higher house, higher degree. But at the same time, a lot of the signs and symbols that are thrown or displayed in the blue house, you don't necessarily have to recognize those signs and symbols. You can as courtesy, but you don't have to. And there's a whole reason why behind that. Hiram Abiff. Let's go to the Bible where Hiram Abiff appears. Where does Hiram Abiff appear in the Bible? Oh, never mind. Where does Hiram Abiff appear in the Bible? Sorry.
According to Wikipedia, Hiram, king of the realm of Tyre, is credited in 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 11 and 1 Kings chapter 5 verses 1 to 10 for having sent building materials and men for the original construction of the temple in Jerusalem.
Now, it's showing us Hiram of Tyre. There's two Hirams. Don't get it confused. There's two Hirams, Hiram Abiff and Hiram of Tyre. This is Hiram Abiff. 1 King 5:1 shows us Hiram of Tyre. Let's read it. 5. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Soliman, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father. For Hiram was ever a lover of David. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how that my father, David, my father, could not build his house unto the name of the Lord his God, and for the wars which were about him on every side, until the Lord put him under the soles of his feet. But now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor evil occurrent. So Solomon is making a plea to Hiram of Tyre, not Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff has not came yet. Okay, and we're in 1 King chapter 5. 1 King chapter 5. That's where we are. Give me a second. Now, we're going to see exactly what Solomon got from Hiram of Tyre. What material? These materials are very important too. And this is for everybody who just want to listen and learn about this shit, man. So if you talk to a Mason or have a conversation with a Mason, this is non-ritualistic stuff that they should talk to you about. Because we're just dealing with scripture. And if they, seem a little bit reluctant to talk to you about what I'm having the conversation with you about, they either don't know it or they just don't know it. You have brothers who are just strictly ritualistic. They stick to the ritual. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sticking to the ritual at all. I promise you, at all. There's nothing wrong with sticking to the ritual. But it reaches a point where you have to know a little bit more. And let me see if I can find it over here now. Let me see. So it's 5. 1 King 5:5. 1 King 5:5. And behold, I purpose to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God, and speak until David my father, saying, Thy son whom I set upon thy throne in thy room shall build a house unto me. So Solomon is very adamant about building this temple, this house to the Lord God, and to, kind of revigorate his father's name, his honor, David. Now, therefore, command thou that there have hewed me cedar trees out of Lebanon. So this is very important. Listen now. Solomon is about to receive timber out of Tyre from Hiram of Tyre. Hiram is the person, Tyre is the location. This is the first Hiram. There are two Hirams, just like I can show you about the two Enochs. This is two Hirams, two different people. From Hiram of Tyre, he's going to receive trees from the forest of Lebanon. Now I'm going to show you another situation called the tall trees of Lebanon. Lebanon is a very important place. Now these trees are going to come out of Lebanon down the Jordan River to the port of Joppa. To the port of Joppa. Watch this. Port of Joppa. The port of Joppa. Watch this. So these trees that are about to get sent from Lebanon down to Solomon to build his temple, they're coming from Lebanon. But they're going to come down the Jordan River and they're going to be received into the port of Joppa. Now, there's a question that if you ever get into a Masonic discourse, peace and love, y'all. If you ever get into a, for sure hit that like button, man, subscribe. If you ever get into a Masonic conversation or discourse with a Mason, you can always ask that question. If you are a Mason, you can ask this question. What port did the materials sent by Hiram of Tyre come to? And it's the basic biblical question. Most Masons don't know the name of that port is the port of Joppa, or the port of Joppa. Now, this becomes a very important question because there's also another question asked or said that we're going to get to, that there was no sound of metal. The stones were hewed somewhere else and shipped to this port to be built. There was no sound of metal during the building of King Solomon's temple. There was no sound of metal during the building of King Solomon's temple. The stone used to construct Solomon's temple were finished at the quarry. The stones used to build Solomon's temple were finished at the quarry. So there were no sound of hammer, axe, or any iron tools at the building site. There was no sound of metal at the building of King Solomon's temple site. Did you know that? That's significant. Remember that part. There was no sound of metal at the building of King Solomon's temple. No sound of metal, no sounds of hammers, axe. Everything came like Legos. And they put it together. Let's see here. The 3 levels of the Masonic degree. Maybe they'll show us on here. I don't want to see the chart because that chart is going to confuse y'all. That chart is very confusing. So these are called the degrees, as I said earlier. Entered apprentice, fellow craft, master mason. Why are we learning this? Why we have to listen to this shit? Why is this even interesting? What are you talking about? What's happening? Maybe these questions are going through your mind. I don't know. It's just general information I think you guys should know and understand. If you ever happen to come across any of the brothers in the organization and you try to gain access to the organization, they should give you access to be one, ask one. But this is just general information. So don't think you can go up in no temple or inside no lodge with this information today. You're going to get embarrassed. Don't. There's way more to know than what I'm talking about right now. Like there's shitloads to know. This is just me shooting the shit. Not saying it's not true. It's just true information, but you will have to go through the degrees yourself in order to put it together. Or just become a great student of the information. So these 3 degrees, entered apprentice, fellow craft, master masons, these 3 degrees represents the 3 ruffians. Those 3 degrees, EA, FC, and MM, represent those 3 ruffians. What are the names of the 3 ruffians? Because I keep talking about. Like I'm mentioning 3 ruffians, but we're not getting anywhere. Three ruffians of Masonry. All right, here we go. They should give us the name right here. Now, that's just their pretend names. You guys see that? Jubilo, Jubilee, and Jubellum. That's just their pretend names. Their real names are at the bottom, as well as the derivations of Abram, Acrop, and Abila. There are also some speculation on alternative names: Romvel, Hombrel, and Gravlot. I can tell you right now the 3 names. It's Cubellum, Acrop, and Gravlot. Those are the real 3 names of 3 ruffians, according to Albert Pike's book. Write that down. If you were a Mason before, you used to be a Mason, or whatever the case is, write it down. It's not Jubilo, Jubilee, and Jubellum. Those are the false names. Those 3 jokers will try to run Ethiopia. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the whole. Maybe you heard it already. But I'm gonna explain it a different way. I'm explaining a totally different way. So whatever you think you know, just keep it to yourself. I'm explaining a different way to you. But these are the names of the 3 ruffians. The pretend names are Jubilo, Jubellum, and Jubellum. Jubilo, Jubilee, and Jubellum. The real names are Acrop, Gravlot, and Cubellum. Those are the real true names. And Hiram's real name, I'm not going to reveal that. I'm not going to reveal Hiram's real name. Let's keep going. So what do we know? What do we know so far? So far we know that, it's right here. Who is the real Hiram Abiff? Hiram, king of the realm of Tyre, today modern Lebanon, is credited in 2 Samuels and 1 King. And see, let me go back. Because I feel like we're getting off track. Let me go back. I'm gonna go back to 1 King 5 real quick, because I'm getting ahead of myself. And I'm getting ahead of myself because I know the information already. Because I already know this shit, so I'm trying to keep up with myself at this point. So forgive me. All right, so we back to 1 King. We met Hiram of Tyre already. 1 King chapter 5, verse 7. And it came to pass when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, he rejoiced greatly and said, "Bless the Lord today, which he have gave to David a wise son of great people." So Hiram of Tyre is super excited, and he gives these trees to Solomon to help construct the temple. And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom as he promised, and there was peace between Hiram and Solomon. And the two made a league together, and King Solomon raised a Levi out of Israel, and the Levi was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon, and 10,000 a month by the course, a month where they were in Lebanon, 2 months at home. And the adornment was over the Levi. Oh, sorry, Levy. Sorry, I said Levy. I said Levi. Levy. Apologize. Levy. And Solomon had 70,000 that bare the burden, 80,000 hewers in the mountain, besides the chief of Solomon's officer, which were over the work, 3,300, which rule over the people who were wroth into work. So it's the same numbers I gave you guys earlier about the 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree. Those are the numbers it's talking about. The chief officers were the master masons. The hewers of the stones were the entered apprentice. The skilled craftsmen were the fellow crafts. And the king commanded they brought out great stones, costly stones, and hewed them, and laid the foundation of the house. And Solomon's builders and Hiram builders did hew them, and the stone squarers, so they prepared timber and stones and built the house. That's 1 King chapter 5. We're going to chapter 6 now. Okay. And it came to pass in the 480 years after the children of Israel had came out of the land of Egypt. So for 480 years, this is 480 years after the exodus of Moses. 480 years after the exodus of Moses. After the Israelites came out of the land of Egypt, and 40 years of Solomon's reign over Israel in the month of Ziph. The month of Ziph is supposed to be August, I think. So we're in the fall, the month of Ziph, which is the second month that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length therefore, and they're going to start giving you dimensions of how big this temple was. So this is another question you can ask any supposed Mason. What were the dimensions of King Solomon's temple? And why would you want to know the dimensions of King Solomon's temple? Because every Masonic lodge is erected to duplicate King Solomon's temple. Every Masonic lodge is erected to look just like King Solomon's temple, so they should know the size of the temple. This is 1 King chapter 6, verse 2, 3, all the way through 7. Now, this all happened with Hiram of Tyre. So you have King Solomon. I actually wrote this down earlier. King Solomon, Hiram of Tyre, and Hiram Abiff. We haven't met Hiram Abiff yet, but Hiram Abiff is also about to appear. Okay. So verse 14, chapter 6. So Solomon built the house and finished it. And he built the walls of the house within the boards of the cedar, both the floors of the house and the walls of the ceiling. And he covered them inside with the wood and covered the floors of the house with planks of fir, F-I-R, certain type of wood. And he built 20 cubits on each side. They give you so many dimensions. 40 cubics. And a cubic foot is from your elbow to your fingertip, if you didn't know what a cubic foot was. Okay. Now, Solomon put all this amazing stuff in here. It says, so Solomon overlaid the house with pure gold, and he made patrimons of chains of gold before the oracle. There was an oracle in there, and he overlaid with gold. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he finished all the house. Also with the altar, also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims of olive trees, each with 10 cubic feet high. Of the 5 cubits, one of the wings of the cherub had 5 cubits, and the other wing had of the cherub from the uttermost part of one wing to the uttermost part of the other. He put a cherub, not what you thinking it is. The cherubs look like gorgons, not the babies with the wings. Those are not cherubs. And the other cherub was 10 cubic feet. So this is the thing that Solomon is putting around the temple. He set the cherubim with the inner house and stretched forth the wings of the cherubim so the wing touched the other wall. He overlaid the cherubim with gold. He carved all the walls of the house round about, carved figures of cherubims and palm trees to open flowers within and without. I'm going to show you in a minute what really built this fucking temple. Let's go to chapter 7. So now we're in 1 King chapter 7. Learn about King Solomon, learn about Hiram of Tyre. And all Masons should know this, by the way. All Masons should know this stuff. Okay? They also know this stuff. It says, But Solomon was building his own house 30 years, and he finished all of his houses. He built also houses in the forest of Lebanon. The length, therefore, was 500 cubic feet, and is covered with cedar upon the beams, blah, blah, blah. And there was light in those windows. And he made a porch. This is what Solomon did. This is Solomon's other houses. And King Solomon fetched Hiram out of Tyre. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. There we go. So chapter 7:13. Now we're going to meet Hiram Abiff. This is Hiram Abiff we're going to meet right now. So we already met Hiram of Tyre. Now we're going to meet Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff appears in chapter 7, verse 13. And King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre. Not Hiram of Tyre. Hiram of Tyre was the first guy that you introduced you to in chapter 5. This is Hiram out of Tyre, the city of Tyre. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali. See that? This is Hiram Abiff. His father was a man of Tyre, a worker in brass, and he was filled with wisdom, and he understood the cunning to work all the works in brass. He came to King Solomon and wrought all of his work. So now you have King Solomon, Hiram of Tyre, and Hiram Abiff. Write those names down if you have not already. If you write those names down together, somewhere beside it, put Grand Masters. Grand Masters. These are the first 3 Grand Masters. Hiram of Tyre, Hiram Abiff, and King Solomon. Here's what Hiram Abiff did. For he cast 2 pillars of brass, 18 cubic feet high in a piece, and a line of 12 cubits did compass either about them. He made 2 chapiters of molten brass. His nets of checker work and wreaths of chain work and chapiters which were upon the top of the pillars, 7 for the one chapiter, and 7 for the other chapiter. Okay, let's talk about these chapiters. These 2 pillars he made. He made 2 pillars. What's on these pillars, what's around these pillars become very, very, very important to most Masons if they pay attention, because some of them are asked these questions, maybe not. But I'm pointing it out to you. This is chapter 7:18. He made the pillars in 2 rows around them upon one network, one covered the chapiters, and were upon the top of pomegranates. And so he did another for the other chapiter. And for the chapiter, they were upon the top of the pillars of lily work and porch of 4 cubits. And the chapiters upon 2 pillars had pomegranate also above, over against the belly, which the network. And the pomegranate were 200 and rows round about upon the chapiters. Listen up. Verse 21. And he set the pillars in the porch of the temple, and he set them upright, the pillars, and called the name of Joshin. And he set the left pillar and called the name Boaz. So he made 2 pillars. One pillar was called Joshin, right here. Joshin. Now, at this point, if you are a Mason, or if you know anybody that is a Mason, they should be leaping for joy right now, because I'm going into some information that's supposed to be secret, but it's actually sacred. Because again, I haven't went into any type of Masonic literature. I haven't opened any rituals. This is just purely out of the scriptures. And see, when I was in the temple, when I was in the lodge, this is the way that I taught my candidates and my entered apprentice. This is how I teach Masonry. So the reason I'm able to do it to all of you that are under the sound of my voice right now is because simple, all of you are candidates. I can make each and last one of you Masons. Even the sisters. Because the sisters are the true Masons. Mayat sons, the sons of Mayat. We're just the sons of Mayat, who's being guided and guarded by the star of the easterly course, you call the Eastern Star, which is really the sun. Or in Hebrew, they call it the light, the ban. the son of my son. So I'm able to give it to you all unadulterated, without fear of cause or whatnot, because I'm only talking about the scriptures. That's all I'm doing. Now, two pillars, one called Joshin, one called Boaz. If you want to write on your piece of paper that you got, if you want to draw two pillars, if you don't know what a pillar is, well, fuck it. Watch this. The 5 orders of architect. There we go. These are pillars. Now we talked about the pillars in chapter 7. Chapter 7. Besides your pillar, write down the word pillar. You got pillar, you should have Joshin and Boaz. If you draw two images of pillars, then draw that. But put pillars, and up beside the pillars, write down 5 orders of architect. 5 orders of architect. 5 orders of architect. And I'm going to teach you guys the 5 orders of architect. Okay? 5 orders of architect. Now, beside the 5 orders of architect, you're going to write down Greeks. Write down the word Greeks. Then write down the word Romans. Write down the word Greeks and write down the word Romans. Out beside the word Greek, okay, you're going to write D-I-C. You're going to write the word D-I-C out beside the word Greek. That's right, D-I-C. And D-I-C is going to represent, hold on, let me see if I can get this right to blow up. Give me 1 second. Yep. So this is the picture we need right here. Hold on. Pull this up for y'all right quick. There we go. You see that? Greeks, D-I-C, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Beside the word Roman, you're going to write Tuscan and Composite. Tuscan and Composite. These are the orders of architect according to Greco-Roman architecture. If you are able to understand the orders of architect and what they are, we're going to talk about them just for a little bit. Then I'm going to show you several pictures of buildings in Washington, D.C. And at some point, I wish I could take y'all through this through the district of D.C. and point out everything that I'm talking about right now. The evolution of the orders. Let's read this together. The evolution of the orders. As Roman history progressed, the Romans came with 5 orders of architect. The first 3, Greek and origin, were recognized as the orders of architect by Vitrus in 90 to 20 BCE, architect to the Emperor Augustus. Those 3 orders was Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Those are the architects of the Greeks. This is during the Greco-Roman era. And you may say, what the hell does this have to do with anything? And the Masonic lingo, the Masonic language, the Masonic order, all the education and information is rabbit hole information, but it's also breadcrumb information. And you have to be a mastermind to tie everything together. Because if you get sidetracked into believing one narrative or another in this Masonic order, you should be lost forever. You run around in the blue house thinking you're a master mason and you're not. You run around as a 33rd or 32nd degree Mason, you're thinking that that's all the degrees, and there's several more degrees when it comes to Masonry. Several more degrees when it comes to Masonry. There's over 720. Over 720 degrees. Over that much when it comes to Masonry. Much of the architect the Romans used were adopted by the Greeks, but they also expanded upon it. The fourth order is Tuscan, was used by the Romans because the land where they initially settled was part of the Etruscan civilization. Now, the Etruscan used a kind of simplistic and under-decored architect, which we all call the Tuscan order. Now, the Etruscan civilization are an interesting civilization. On the Roman, they call them Romans. These are known as olive hue, dark skinned people. These are the Etruscans. I'm not making this up. This is what it is. So these are the 5 order architects. The 5 order architects. I'm only bringing up the 5 order architects because I just showed you in the Bible, in the scriptures, where Hiram Abiff constructed 2 of these chapters or pillars, they call them. And the Bible was giving us a really, really intricate breakdown on how these pillars looked that he constructed. Now, the 5 orders of architect are mentioned in the Masonic order. They have to be understood in the Masonic order in various degrees. By the 3rd degree, one should understand what the 5 orders of architect is. Actually, in the 2nd degree, you should know what the 5 orders of architect mean in the symbology to Freemasonry. Now, as promised, I talked about the skyline in DC. Buildings in Washington, D.C. Let's just see what happens. I mean, as soon as the shit come up, you see the 1st order architect in the 2nd picture. I think that's the Monticello building. That architecture right here is called Doric. Doric is one of the most simplest constructs. This is called Doric. So next time you're in DC and you see all these huge columns, look at the very top of the column, and it gives you an indication of what style the Freemasons took after. There's very different styles. Now, the Freemasons are the thinkers, but the actual builders of the buildings, not these buildings. I don't want to get into Tartaria and all that stuff. We can talk about Tartaria later. Of course, Tartaria does apply in this situation. However, not for this conversation in particular. But we see the orders of architect throughout Washington, D.C. I picked Washington, D.C. Almost every state capital will have a formidable replication of some type of Greek, Greco-Roman pillars. These pillars in DC. Let me see. Buildings with Roman art. Let's see what happens. Greatly influenced. Greatly influenced. And people say that DC is laid out like the Masonic symbol. This is the actual layout. The pentagram inside of the circle. A circle within a circle. Crazy. Crazy. All right. So without getting too far off track, let's go back. Go back to the Ruffians. I told you this shit can go crazy, man. All right. Let's focus on the 3 Ruffians. Backtracking our notes because I'm about to turn on a video about Dr. York, and I'm gonna let Dr. York go in for a couple of minutes. I was gonna play him at the beginning, but I want to now that I got you guys all familiar with some of the terminology. Now I'll turn the video on with Dr. York and just listen closely to what Dr. York is talking about and what he's sharing. Dr. York is of the order. Dr. York is a Grand Master. He is a Shriner or a noble. Not Shriners, nobles. And maybe one day we'll deal with that as well. The difference between Shriners and nobles. The difference between a Shriner and a noble. But check out Dr. York real quick. Listen.
Of the ladder of Jacob they have climbed. So I'm making reference to any Freemason who comes across that book. It says, how old are you? I said, well, I've already passed 135. And I went on to 7 and straight on up. They don't know. They don't get past 3 degrees. And those 3 degrees are 135. And the British Birthright and Masonic. That's as high as they go. There's no such thing as 33 degrees in Freemasonry. There's no such thing as 32 degrees. The original degrees of Freemasonry are only 3 degrees. Everything else is honorary studies. If I'm saying Egyptians, and we never gave them over 3 degrees. We never allowed them outside of person, places, and things. And because they are the masters of most education systems destiny, everybody, Muslim, Christian, Jew, are all trapped under 3 degrees. Person, places, and things. And you say, I'm going to take people to another level, I can do 7. Then at that point I say, and in the metaphysical or esoteric doctrine, you've been taught about the 7 seats or chakras. Well, because the people who were teaching that science only had 7, you follow? They don't know about the 9. Now I'm taking you from the 7 up to the next. You have to learn about the next 2 chakras, not just the one that's in the crown side. You get to the, like I said, we go to the ancient Egyptian word, you look at the dictionary, and the word brow seat. You get the Egyptian word Mir, which you also know is been translated as pyramid or central fire, right? It's like right there. They considered this the 6th point, the 3rd eye. Then they went to the crown with their 12 occult nerves, which represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. And in the center of there, they put the 7th seat, the crown chakra. When they get back to Egypt at the temple of Hathor, and they look on the ceiling toward the sky, and they see the calendar of Dendora, they notice that in the center of Tawaret, and Tawaret is a female deity. The Moors call her Zodiacus, the center of the sign of the zodiac. They also call her Minty. They call
Dr. York on here cooking, man. Listen, man. Dr. York be going so goddamn fast with the information, man. Dr. York is on here cooking. He just said that the 12 zodiac signs come from actually the house of Dendora in ancient Egypt, which nobody argues against that point at all. What's so significant, he was breaking down to 7. He's also breaking down to 7. Let me see something real quick. You guys recognize this symbol right here. Let me see. There we go. Hold on. You guys recognize this right here. And at its core, man, all this stuff is the same teaching, man. It's just different grades of it. the supposed circle 7, but it's known as the quadrant 7. The quadrant 7. Those are four quadrants. Those are 4 quadrants. Those are 4 seasons. Those are 4 seasons. Now, do you want to know what that 7 stands for? Watch this. Show me the symbol for a Greek 7. We're going to go to the alpha beta. Let's go to the alpha beta. This is the Greek alphabet. Let me teach y'all something real quick, man. No, hold on. Let me see. Letter G. Symbol for the Greek letter G. I apologize, fam. Right here. There we go. Because now at this point, we have to go into something called the geometrium. The geometrium. This is part of the Masonic Codex. You have the geometrium and you have the abjad. I'm sure I'm talking about. But by the way, this is it right here. That upside down L, that's the letter G. The Greek letter G. You see that? And that Greek letter G. Watch this. Right there. That's the Greek letter G. You call it a 7. That's the quadrant 7. Where else do we see a G circled? Where else do we see a G circled? Masonic symbol. You see that? Now, remember on that circle 7, I told you that there was a quadrant 7. Those square points, or those points of the compass and the points of the square, creates those 4 quadrants. The G in the circle represents the 4 quadrants in the circle 7. It's the same thing. The Masonic G and the quadrant 7 are the same instrument. Watch this. Moorish Rite Masonry. Hold on. Told you. Told y'all. Told y'all. Moorish Rite. Moorish Rite. I told y'all. I just told y'all. I just told you that circle 7 is a Greek G. The Greek fraternal G is the 7 turned around. It's also known as a square. That 7 is the Greek letter G. This is called the Moorish Rite. So I told y'all none of this shit today was gonna be what y'all thought it was gonna be. Would the fish take the bait if he know the hook was hidden within? How many of y'all know about CM Bay? How many of y'all know about this brother right here? Hold on. How many of y'all know about this brother right here? CM Bay. Happy holiday, Moors. Happy holiday. This is just for y'all. Happy Holy Day. Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about something else, didn't you? We're about to talk about Brother C.M. Bay. Let's look into this cat. Let's find out a little more. Let's find out something else on it real quick. Let's find out some more on it. Let's deal with it. Ancient Free Moorish Rite. Ancient Free Moorish Rite. This is the late illustrious most constant Clifford H. Hazel Bay, 33rd, 97th degree Sovereign Grand Commander of Supreme Council, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry and of the Southern and Western Hemisphere, Inc., Memphis, Mizraim Rite member. Oh, don't get quiet in the comments now. Don't y'all get quiet on me in the comments now. Don't get quiet now in the comments. I'm trying to do my Dr. Evil laugh. Okay, let's deal with it. Let's get into it. Clifford E. Hazel Bay, Lodge number 1. These are Moorish Masons. Now, I showed you earlier, Brother Angelo Soliman, known as the Moorish Mason. I'll pull him back up. Hold on. Moorish Mason. I'll pull him back up. Cause this is some shit that ain't really talked about a lot. It's not really talked about a lot. And I know when I was coming through all of it, I never heard of it. And I went through the Masonic Lodge and the Moor Science Temple. I went through both. And never heard of this guy right here. You see how we came right back to this guy? Let's deal with some names they said. They called him the Royal Moor, the Noble Moor, they mummified this brother, the mummified Moor, the Noble Moor. During his time, Solomon became the Freemason Lodge Grand Master, certainly considered equal to his fellow Masons, even though he continued to face the thick of race and class prejudice. He had a European wife. So Moors can be Masons. Matter of fact, this brother right here was known as the father of Freemasonic thought, reshaping the European landscape on Masonic order. Not Prince Hall, not Noble Jew Ali. And I'm saying Noble Jew Ali for a reason, out of respect to the brother, but why did it make you think that Moors can't be Masons and Masons can't be Moors? Because that's what I always was taught. I was told to take off my Masonic regalia around the Moors. They never taught me about this guy. I never heard of this guy. Why is that? He got on a turban and everything. He had a turban on before Noble Jew Ali had a turban on. Back to these good brothers. This is a Masonic Moorish temple. This is a letter A letter, The Emerits of Prince Hall Freemasonry in America by Alton G. Roundtree. It says, Past Master Redemption Lodge 24. Past Master of Redemption Lodge 24, the largest lodge in Washington, D.C., Prince Hall jurisdiction. Paul M. Brasser, past Senior Warden of Grand Lodge of District of Columbia in Washington, D.C., essentially states the two competing sets of organizations within Prince Hall Freemasonry, a minority of lodges which are subject to Prince Hall National Grand Lodge, who refer to themselves as PHO. So even with Prince Hall, there's PHO and PHA, in case you didn't know that. Write that down, look it up later. One is PHO, the organization, and one is affiliated. PHA is affiliated. Majority of the lodges who are subject to the 42 dependent state Grand Lodges are known as PHA, Prince Hall affiliated. Through the influences through foreign correspondence by men such as William T. Boyd and others, many Grand Lodges under the jurisdiction of National Grand Lodge withdrew or engaged in merger as a Grand Lodge independent. All this shit means is what happens with all the black lodges eventually is they break up, they offshoot, off splint, and a brother takes a majority of the lodge somewhere else, and it just keeps confusion going throughout the lodge. This happens with every Masonic lodge, whether they Prince Hall or Scottish Rite or York Rite. That shit don't matter. Anytime Negroes get together, there's always chaos in the midst somewhere. Always chaos in the midst of that shit. So this is just explaining the Prince Hall dynamic. Greetings. Be it known to all whom may concern that we, the Master Ward members of African Lodge 459, City of Boston, U.S. America, hold in our possession a certain unlimited charter granted September 29th, AL 5784 AD 1784 by Thomas Howard, Earl of Effingham. This is 1784. What else happened in 1780 something? Do y'all remember? They saying that they got the lodge. They got the Prince Hall charter in 1784. Angelo Soliman joined the lodge in 1783. And I'm not saying that this has any connection at all. I'm giving you guys the history. This passage I have highlighted right now is saying when when African Lodge 459 received this charter was in 1784. Angelo Soliman became a Mason in 1783. So technically, Angelo Soliman was already in it. And Prince Hall only received permission to do a couple things. I'll come back to that in a second. It said, however, for many years, Prince Hall Masons were considered irregular and clandestine by most Grand Lodge jurisdiction, and no doubt racially bias played a part in determination. European Albinite Masons took Prince Hall Masons and Shriners to court, claiming Prince Hall Masonry overall was clandestine. The European Albino Masonic lost their legal battle in Prince Hall Masons on June 23rd, 1929. The U.S. Supreme Court handed down a decision that granted Prince Hall and Masons and Shriners had all the rights of a fraternity to appear in public and private practice at the time on the traditions of Masonry. Concerning Prince Hall Masonry, it is important to realize that for the most of its existence, European Freemasonry has always been a very racist institution, according to data compiled in 2011. 42 out of 51 mainstream U.S. Grand Lodge recognized Prince Hall as lodges, Prince Hall Grand Lodges. 42 out of 51 mainstream U.S. Grand Lodges recognized Prince Hall lodges as Grand Lodges. Now, the crazy shit is they're saying that these European lodges don't recognize Prince Hall lodges, but I just showed you a brother of dark hue at the same time period of 1783 to 84 to 85, who became the Grand Master over in Europe, from which these Europeans received the knowledge in America. I'm sorry, these European masonries. Does it really make sense? Does it really jive? Is it making sense at all that they would be racist towards a sect of individuals in these states joining versus knowing that their father is also a brother. Like white Masons know who Angelo Soliman is. All white Masons know who he is, or should know who he is. Let me say that. They don't know. But here we are saying that Prince Hall Masons are fighting for the right to be recognized. Something is not right. Something is not right. And of course, the Boston Tea Party plays a part in this. Some people say that Benjamin Banneker was Prince Hall. Some people even suggest that what's his name? Not Benjamin Banneker. Crispus Attucks. What happened? Brother said George Washington became the first European president. Not really. George Washington was just a general of the Continental Army. In fact, the first supposed presidents of the U.S. once after 1776 were all, in some fashion, almost to the 70s really, were all military affiliated under their War Power Act. These are war leaders. So I would say nah. It says the right-hand man of President John Hanson, a Moor, was Benjamin Banneker, actually known as Chief Justice Big Ben Emmanuel Mu Ali, Prince of Lenape, a member of the Continental Congress. We suspect that Prince Hall, 1735 to 1807, a mystic name meaning allegory, Big Ben. So they're trying to say that Benjamin Banneker was Prince Hall. Was Prince Hall even a real character? Still dealing with master builders. Clock of Destiny. Here we go. This is a great read right here, people. It's called The Clock of Destiny. Please write that down. The Clock of Destiny. The Clock of Destiny, written by Charles Mosley Bay. He was a 32nd, 33rd, 360-degree Mason. Clock of Destiny. Write that down. Another one called The Overview of Prince Hall Freemasonry, 1774 to present. That's by Michael Jenkins. Michael Jenkins. I'm giving y'all the references to look this shit up. So don't say I said nothing. This is just y'all know I give y'all study material. This is like one of those AP lecture classes you go to, and the professor be all over the fucking place, but he makes sense sometimes. I'm that professor. I'm just giving y'all the information to create your own outline. An overview of Prince Hall Freemasonry, 1784 to present, by S. Michael Jenkins. It even has a Masonic Quizlet book with that read. So definitely check that out. Yeah, check that out. That's something else I want to show y'all real quick before we get out of here. I think Dr. Eileen Bay got another joint that I want to check out real quick that I found to be very, very interesting. He has something on the Washita Moors, the history of the Washita. I think Crum had him a couple times, or once or twice, over on Crum TV. Dr. Eileen Bay, great work, man. Great work. Beautiful work. So if you're not familiar with the brother, check him out. I think he does great work. I haven't found really too many Moors that either agree with him or deal with him. Very far between. I know everything. Okay. So he got everything on one site now. All right. He has some good information on here it is right here. On the Moor Science Temple. He has some good information. Well, I'm not gonna say good information. I'm gonna say interesting information that I found intriguing at the time that I was on my sojourn through the Moorish Rite. I mean, not Moorish Rite. I am a part of the Moorish Rite too, but the Moor Science Temple. So this is the supposed map. If you look up the Ben Ishmael tribe, this same map will come up. This is why most, if not all, activity took place between Ohio, Detroit, and Chicago. Of course, we know that the outpost cities were New York and New Jersey, but mainly the triad, because the Holy Mountain of Hermetics was supposedly in that particular area. Morocco and Mecca is Chicago, for those of y'all don't know. Parts of Pennsylvania is also involved, but this map is mainly associated with the Ben Ishmael tribe. So if you guys want to write that down, that's fine as well. The Ben Ishmael tribe is a great one. Yes, Chief, you're absolutely right. Clock of Destiny, book 1 and 2, Circle of Life. Absolutely. You're absolutely 100% correct. What I found most interesting on here, see the tribe of Ishmael, 1785 to 1905. And these are the same group of people that were found to be supposedly feeble-minded, idle people who Margaret Sanger and the American Birth Control lead in the Eugenics project had first dibs at when it came to forced sterilization. These people were at the helm of the Forced Sterilization Act when it first popped off in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Ben Ishmael tribe. Definitely look them up. Very interesting story. I never heard of that story either. The First Nation of Islam, they say the Ben Ishmael tribe. The earliest source we have on the tribe of Ben Ishmael of Reverend Oscar C. McCall, the tribe of Ishmael, Study in Social Degradation, 1888. So again, that's the end of the 1800s. But it says in the late 18th, early 19th century, groups of runaway slaves, African Mandinka descendants from Florida, Seminole, Yamasee, the Eastern Seaboard, Takaras, Cherokee, serfs fled from Kentucky, the fewest poor so-called whites, indentured servants from Scottish or Celtic descent. So they're saying that the peasant serfs also ran away with supposed Negro slaves. They kind of were equal to some degree, that they hung out together, who became known as the Mongolians in the Ohio territory. The Ben Ishmael tribe estimated the number about 10,000. Hence, they were called triracial isolation. Some of these groups clearly had been founded at the least part of by Muslims or Muslims, Maroons, escaped slaves. The Mongols, descendants from Moorish convertos, brought as slave labor to Florida by Spain and abandoned there. The Delaware Moors, the Louisiana Turks, and the Ben Ishmael tribe of Ohio all reveal Islamic connection. The Delaware Moors, the Louisiana Turks, and the Ben Ishmael tribe of Ohio. Crazy. That's not all interesting. I mean, so as a matter of fact, here's what I do. I will send you the link. Let's put the link in the chat right now. And If you happen to miss the link, just let me know. I'll email you guys the link. And I also put the link at the bottom of this video. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. But something else interesting came up in this information that was prepared. See, here we go right here. This is the forced sterilization that I was talking about earlier. Dealing with eugenics. They forced sterilize those individuals who were considered to be part of the Ben Ishmael tribe in Indianapolis. And this is a real thing. Real group of people, real thing that really happened. So yeah, look into that. But that's not the most interesting shit that I saw in this joint, man. Something else that was like, oh my God. There we go. I need you guys to pay exclusive, extensive attention for this. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do this shit. How about this? How about this? Because y'all be going crazy on the Cash App, and I appreciate y'all. I'm about to go in for about another 30 minutes. Just pay attention and take notes. This shit is about to be mind-blowing. Take notes. And we just got done talking about the Masonic Lodge. This is how I'm going to end the whole Masonic conversation, because this is relevant to the Masonic conversation, what I'm about to get into. And if you've never heard this information before, if you've never heard what I'm about to say before, then cool. And if you have heard it, cool. But check this shit out, though. Check this shit out. It's gonna go quick too, so make sure y'all fucking paying attention. This is Paschal, Beverly, Randolph. According to the Herald College of England, Dr. Randolph's mother was of Moorish descent. You heard right. According to the A.E. White, establishing the earliest known Rosicrucian order in the United States. According to A.E. White, establishing the earliest Rosicrucian order in the United States. So this guy here is responsible for establishing what's called the Rosicrucian order. Watch this. Because remember, I was trying to dabble in the chart a little bit earlier, right? Hold on, let me show y'all what this looked like. So you have an idea. He established what's called the Rosicrucian order. This is the Rosicrucian order, or the Rose Cross. They call it. It's called the Rose Cross, or the Rosicrucian order. Rosicrucian order. Now, watch this. What degree is Rosicrucian order? That's all I asked. It says the fifth degree. The fifth degree deals primarily with ancient philosophies, and the sixth with health and the physical, psychic consciousness, and the seventh, so on and so forth. This is the fifth degree. The ancient Rosicrucian order. This is known as the fifth degree. Now we don't came out the blue house. Now we're no longer talking about first, second, and third degree masonry. We're done with that conversation now. That was the first hour. We spent the first hour talking about the first 3 degrees of the Blue Lodge. Now we're going to talk about the Rosicrucian order. Remember the first degree we talked about Hiram Abiff, Hiram of Tyre, and pillars, and then I gave you the second set of grandmasters. Now we're going to talk about the second set of grandmasters: Hagar, Zerubbabel, and Joshua. I asked you to write those down earlier. If you didn't, write them down under what's called the Red House. We talked about the Blue House already. Now I'm talking about the Red House: Hagar, Joshua, and Zerubbabel. These are your next 3 grandmasters. These are the next 3 grandmasters we're dealing with. This is the Rosicrucian order, also known as the 5th degree. It stands for one who has truly attained. Now you get the real password. And I know you see, do they believe in Jesus? Yes. Jesus has a whole tie-up in this situation. The Rosicrucian. Some real deep, occultic, Kabbalistic stuff. I'll just say that. I mean, that's why I say people who are in the 1st, 2nd degree, man, it's nothing. Watch this though. Look right there. See that 5-pointed star? Now, this is the 6-pointed star down here. This is the 5-pointed star. With their red background. Don't look like a Moorish flag. That's a Rosicrucian symbol. All I'm trying to do is interweave this is dealing with Kabbalistic teachings, but it's mostly dealing with Hermetic philosophy. And I hope that makes sense. Like this is part of the like if this was this was a Kabbalah book, this would be like chapter 5. This is just the Rosicrucian is a chapter within the book of Kabbalism, Kabbalah. This is just in the book. This is a chapter of the book. A lengthy chapter too. This is the Rose Cross. I just want to give you the person who brought the Rosicrucian order to America. Let's go back to him real quick because he's an interesting character. Paschal, Beverly Randolph. Let's just call him Dr. Randolph. Dr. Randolph, according to A.E. Wyatt, establishing the earliest Rosicrucian order in the United States. Dr. Randolph was an American medical doctor, occultist, and writer. He visited England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Malta, Egypt, Arabia, Syria, Palestine, Turkey, and Greece. Randolph introduced the principles of sex magic, or Tantra yoga, to North America. 22nd century occultist practitioner of sex magic. Theodore Russell, a German, and Aleister Crowley of Great Britain were heavily influenced by both Rudolph organization, OTO, Ordo Temple Orderitis, and their sex magic ritual. He also teaching of Helena Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky. Go ahead and write her down. Let's take a quick peek into Madame Blavatsky. So this guy was heavily into the occult magic. Masonry is thought to be occultic. Masonry is thought to be mystic and all that other kind of type stuff. But I'm giving you some of the people, some of the key characters behind the actuality as far as coming to America. This is Helena Blavatsky. I'll call Madame Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky. And I won't get too deep into who she is because she has a whole history behind her too. The Theosophical Society in 1875. She also ushered in occult thinking and occult thought into America. At the same time, the gentleman I just showed you, Dr. Rudolph, did. This is all during the time called the Third Great Awakening, by the way. So as far as time frame wise, we're in the late 1800s, transcending into the 1900s. So we're in the late 19th century. We're now transcending into the 20th century, if you need a time reference. Also, matter of fact, just write that down. Write down somewhere in your paper. 1888 1935. 1888 to 1935. That's the time period we're going to deal with. So you have Helena Blavatsky. You have Dr. Randolph. It said she referred to her Mara, one of her ascended masters, Rudolph, who traveled, hold on, whole thing on the page, who traveled to Europe in 1854. He met occult magician Elphus Levi in Paris, Yanker and Paschal Beverly Rudolph. He was initiated into the secret priesthood of the Ismaili Muslims. Yanker passed a tradition of Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, which he was reborn as a Hermetic Brotherhood of Light, a continuant of Frats Lucid of Asiatic Brethren. So this is the first time we're going to see this word right here. Won't be the last time. Won't be the last time. And I want the Moors to pay special attention. As I'm talking, Moors, look at the timestamps. This is not to derail. This is not to throw nobody off. This is not to, in the words of the great brother Dane Calloway, I'm just here to make y'all think. Eat the meat, spit the bone out. So we see a term, Asiatic Brethren. Asiatic Brethren. Let's explore this word, because this is something that you hear throughout the Moor Science Temple, especially Asiatic. All Asiatics. Let's look up the Asiatic Brethren. The Asiatic Brethren, the order of Asiatic Brethren stands out amongst German Masonic and para-Masonic organizations of its day, chiefly on account of the way in which it welcomed the Asiatic Brotherhood. The Order of Saint Joachim. Remember those two pillars? Asiatic Brother. In the early 1780s, there emerged an organization known initially as Die Rite des Lichts, Knights of Light. Asiatic Brethren, Brethren of Asia. For Jews, the information of the Asiatic Brethren was means of reaching the non-Jewish world and finding a place in European society. Asiatic Brethren. Asiatic Brethren. Remember that term. If I'm showing you something, I'm showing you to make a point later. Because what's happened is this shit is so scattered. We have to go look in in multitude of texts in order to find one right answer. And a lot of people don't want to take time to do that, and they get discouraged and they stop looking. I'm showing you everywhere to look. It says in 1858, the Supreme Grand Dome met in Paris. The conclave was opened by Supreme Grand Master Eliphas Levi. In due order, to be honest, the superior hierarchy gave up his seat as Supreme Grand Master of the Supreme Grand Dome, and Randolph was introduced before the altar as three fleur de lis. He took the oath. So basically, this is when this guy right here, Beverly Rudolph, or Dr. Rudolph, who established the first Rosicrucian order in the United States. I just showed you about the Rose Cross, which is actually the 5th degree. That's right. That Dr. Rudolph became the Supreme Grand Master. Okay. That's all you know about him. Keep him in mind, though. Another guy. Write him down. And if this is any of you guys' first time seeing this information, type 1-1 in the comment. If this is your first time hearing this information, whether you're a Mason, whether you're a Moor, whether you're just an enthusiast to learn, if it's your first time hearing this shit, just give me a 1-1 in the comment, because I feel like I'm talking to myself. I feel like I'm just really, I feel like I'm talking to myself right now. So if you have never heard this information before, give me a 1-1. Just let me know if I should keep going, or if I should just shut it down for the morning, because I don't gave up a lot already. If you've never heard of this shit, give me 1-1 in the comment. Okay, so listen. It's all good. We're going to keep going. And listen, I want to say this right here real quick too. I don't have that many followers when I go live. And that shit really don't bother me, for real. I started with humble beginnings of teaching people, 3 people in the class. I had 4 people. So the numbers really don't bother me. Here's what bothers me. When any of us take the time to hop on this platform and divulge the knowledge that we know, and we use our discipline to help educate and put you guys on game, is the non-sharing of information. Like, you guys literally control how many more people tap into this channel. If you're satisfied with the information, then put other people onto the information. I'm not saying you're not. For those who are sharing and showing love, appreciate all y'all, man. Keep doing the work. I appreciate y'all. But those who are here to spectate, just hit the share button. We got 49, 50 people watching. We should have at least 1,000 people watching every time I go live on here. Just because of the people who follow you. Just for that reason alone. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's get to it. Let's deal with it. Jamal. S-A. I'm gonna put it in the I'm gonna put it in the comments, because his name is rather difficult to pronounce all at one time. And look, he's a Bay. That's his name right there. He's a Bay. B-E-Y. Now, a Bey is a Turkish ruler. That's what a Bey is. Watch this. A Bey. Let me show you what a Bey is. B-E-Y. The terminology alone is Turkish. Bey, also spelled bag, bej, beej, bag, beak, bag, bag, is a Turkey title for chieftain, and a honorific title traditionally applied to those people with special lineage to leaders or rulers of various sizes of areas in numerous Turkish kingdom, emirates, sultans, or emperors in the Central Asia, South Asia. The Beys are the rulers of the land. The L's and the Beys and the wheels and the ways. Remember that shit? The L's are the creators and the Beys are the enforcers. Yeah, these are real Beys. This is where that sentiment come from. So all you Beys out there with the last name Bey, rulers of the land, the enforcers, this is where that sentiment comes from. Not from Allah. It comes literally. A Turkish meaning, a Turkish person called a Bey is the ruler, the chieftain over a particular area of land, the enforcer over various sizes of land. Literally, not figuratively speaking. Bey. We'll deal with the Hebrews later with the word L. To show you what a Bey is, so you guys have full understanding. Peace. This is what a bay is. I don't care you get mad at me. I don't know why you're mad in the first place, but this is the person, Sayyid Jamal Bay. Let's call him Sayyid Bay. He was a pan-Islamic, a master adept. A master adept. Master adept. Now I want to search Google for what master adept means. What is a master adept? What is a master adept? Give me a second because I'm looking. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something and it didn't give me what I wanted. Hold on. Oh man, hold on. So I want you guys to keep in mind the term adept. Adept. You write that down? It says that Sayyid Jamal was a master adept. Where else have we seen the word adept associated with teaching or learning? Where else have we seen the term adept? I want you to write this down because I told you the time frames are 1888 to 1930. I told y'all the time frames already. 1888 to 1930 is the time frame. The Egyptian adept student, Professor Drew. So write down Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept student. I'm just pointing out the words and terminology. Y'all do with it what you want to do with it. Do with it what you want to do with the shit. Just keep paying attention, though. Please keep paying attention. A Sufi scholar and teacher, a Muslim politician journalist, he founded a Masonic order in Eastern. He founded a Masonic lodge, the Eastern Star, in Egypt during the 1800s. Madame Blavatsky met with him. So I just showed you Madame Blavatsky. I just showed you Madame Blavatsky. Sorry, Madame Blavatsky. I showed you Madame Blavatsky earlier. It said he met with Madame Blavatsky, who refers to Serapis Bey, one of the sacred chiefs and ascended masters. Okay, Tutip Bey, Kuthum, or Halar, and synonyms who proportionately belong to the Asiatic Brethren, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, who were aiding humanity to evolve into a race of Superman. The master adept Jamal turned up in America in the winter of 1882-83. He is said to have been joined by his disciples, Chief Initiate Muhammad Abdu. Okay. The two missionaries came to the United States to propagate the doctrine of ancestral and cultural pride under the banner of Pan-Islam. So a couple of things happening. I want y'all to pay attention to. I want y'all to write down Serapis Bey. Serapis Bey. And let's look up this Serapis Bey real quick. Man, this is crazy. Look up this Serapis Bey real quick. Secret societies, man. I'm telling you. Secret societies. Who was Serapis Bey? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. The Serapis Bey? Who is Serapis Bey in ancient Egypt? Serapis is a Greco-Egyptian god, a Cynic deity derived from the worship of Egyptian Osiris and Apis. Serapis was extensively popularized in the 3rd century BC in the order of Greek pharaoh, Ptolemy I Soter. as a means to unify the Greek and Egyptian subjects of the Ptolemaic kingdom. This is Serapis Bey, who she was talking about. This is Serapis Bey. Write down Serapis Bey. Serapis Bey, look. This is your 7 right here. That's your circle 7 right there. Who were the 7 ascended masters? Though let's write these 7 down. Paul of Taurus, aka Hilaris, Ashtar, Shireen, Santon, Kumar, Melchizedek, Archangel Michael, Metatron, Kuan Yin. The 7 ascended masters. And by the way, you're only going to hear about these kind of terminologies as we talk about ascended masters, prophets. The word prophet is going to be one of the terminologies. And a prophet is actually one of the degrees, by the way, of the Hermetic order. A prophet is a degree of the Hermetic order. Noble, so on and so forth. So, as I mentioned, I'm just going to lay this shit out. Eat the meat, spit the bone out. If nothing else, you know, this shit is interesting. So we got Saeed Jamal, right? Let's move on. This is Madame Blavatsky again. Madame Blavatsky had a quote by the Moors. She said the Moors were very profound versed in occult science. Toledo's Salville and Salamanca were once upon the time of great scholars of magic. So Madame Blavatsky is giving the Moors their flowers, saying that these Moors are on point. These Moors definitely have some information. She's after writing momentous works such as the Isis Unveiled the Secret Doctrine, the Theosophical Society was formed in 1875. Among the early members were Rudolf Steiner, founder of Anthroposophistology Society, Albert Pike, 33rd degree Mason, and Manly P. Hall, a leading Masonic historian and a founder of the Philosophical Society. Read The Moorish American Prophet Noble Jew Ali by Professor Raven Bay. Might want to write that down. I'll say it again. The name of the book is called The Moorish American Prophet Noble Jew Ali by Professor Raven Bay. See, I'm not up here just saying shit. I'm up here. I'm giving y'all the citation, I'm giving y'all the source, I'm giving y'all the information. I'm not up here just making up shit. I'm not giving y'all barbershop talk. This is what it is. This is what it is. So anyway, we got Madame Blavatsky. Let's keep going. Muhammad Abdul. I don't think he's of importance right now, but he knew Dr. Jamal as well. Also an advocate of pan-Islamism, to resist the European colonization of colonizing. So Dr. This guy right here. Not Dr. Saeed Jamal Bay was also a revolutionary. Let's see. Talked about the Moors right here a little bit. Let's go back. I missed this right here. The Master Adept Jamal. This is a good part right here. It says the Master Adept Jamal is said to have been joined by his disciples and chief initiates Muhammad Abdul. That's the guy we just saw a second ago. The two missionaries had come to the United States to propagate the doctrine, ancestry, and cultural pride under the banner of Pan-Islam, which is meant to ensure the divine teaching of ancestry are not forgotten among the Moors of North America, a Mexican. It is said the Moorish National Divine Movement was founded on these teachings of Sufism by Prophet Noble Jew Ali, Elizabeth Turner, and John Jew Quitman studied under Jamal after got there a little bit. It is said that the Moorish Divine National Movement was founded on the teachings Sufism by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Elizzy Turner, and John Drew Quitman, studied under Jamal, who were the parents of the man who would one day establish the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, or the MSTA, Temple of America, at the hand of Jamal al-Afghan. The Drew family was introduced to the sacred order known as the Asiatic Brotherhood of the Brethren of Purity Brotherhood, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. In his early teenage years of Timothy Drew traveled to Egypt and studied among the great neophytes of Jamal. While at Al-Azhar University, Drew Ali came under influence of Muhammad Rashid al-Nizar Bey, as well as the great Egyptian nationalist Deuce Muhammad Ali, who lived in London, England at the time. Drew Ali is said to have studied at the Old Ethiopian College in Vatican City, Rome. Now, I didn't say that. That's what it just said. Noble Drew Ali studied under these guys. Remember the time frame, though. 1888 to 1935 is the time of the Third Great Awakening. I keep saying that shit. This guy right here gave Noble Drew Ali the jewels to start the MST of A, or the Moorish National Divine Movement. We're gonna deal with it. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Unbelievable, isn't it? And I have this entire link to send you guys. Send you guys this entire link. In 1939, Premier Ali Mahir named his chief of staff, but he was dismissed from the post in 1940 at Britain's Innocent. He deserted the Egyptian army and tried to reach Axis forces in Libya, in the Libya desert. But he was caught in court-martial in 1941 after Aziz Ali had helped the free officers prepare for the revolution in 1952. They named him ambassador to Moscow in 1953 and considered making him president in the place of Muhammad Naguib. But he retired in 1954, fiercely nationalistic. Aziz Ali al-Mazrui Bey was hampered in his career by his political idealism, which got better of his discretion. Read The Moorish American Prophet by Professor Ravana Bey. Now, these are said to be the parents of Timothy Drew. These are the parents of Timothy Drew, according to this article. This is his mother, Elizabeth Turner Quitman, pure-blooded Washita Tunic. His father, John Drew Quitman, full-blooded Cherokee. This is, I think, the old Canaanite temple. This is the Moorish Zionist temple. This is in Brooklyn, they said, Brooklyn, New York, which was formed in 1889. Rabbi Leo. Here's where it gets interesting at right here. Because, you know, around this time, like I told you before, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, people like Marcus Garvey appears, the United, what is the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, trying to get Negroes to go over to Africa to start a colony in Liberia colony, the Atlantic Star, so on and so forth. So you hear a lot of religious jargon going on, but here's somebody you may have not known. Check out the turban, first of all, on his head. He has his head wrapped with the turban. This is Rabbi Arnold Joshua Ford. Write down Rabbi Arnold Joshua Ford, please. Write him down. Rabbi Arnold Joshua Ford, Black nationalist who became the musical director of the UNIA in 1917. He was a member of the Scottish Rite Masons, where he served as master of Memo Lodge. Ford and Benjamin E. Burrell composed a song called Ethiopia, which speaks of the Hallelujah past before slavery and stress pride and African heritage, two themes that were becoming immensely popular. Ford was thus prominently situated among the Muslim and Christian clergy, including George Alexander McGuire, chaplain general for the UNIA, who each were trying to influence the religious direction of the organization. Ford and E.L. Gaines wrote a handbook, Rules and Regulations for Paramilitary African Legion, which was modeled after Zion's Jewish Legion, and the development guides for Black Cross nurses. He served on the committee, spoke at rallies. He was elected one of the delegates representing 35,000 members of New York chapter in the first International Convention of Negro People of the World held in 1920 in Madison Square Garden. Rabbi Ford was expelled from the UNIA, aka the Garvey movement, as he was headed for music and band marchers. He was removed in 23 due to mismanagement of choir's payroll. It is possible that Drew Ali had in fact borrowed elements of the African genealogy narrative from Ford's, as it alleged Rabbi Ford's Back to Ethiopia movement is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali referenced in the Moorish Questionnaire Key 89, also Moorish Divine Constitution Bylaws Act 6, Moorish Quran Circle 7, Chapter 47, 1-4. Rabbi Ford was quoted in Moorish literature pamphlet in the speech Industrial Acts of Muslims. Some say to him that it was him, while others say it was David Ford L. Other evidence suggests that Drew Ali was influenced by the Moorish Hebrew, and was the importance he gave Marcus Garvey as a feature notable amongst Ford's group. In the introduction of L's word along with Bay suffix. And the introduction of the word L along with Bay as a suffix to Moor's names, which consistent of the Hebrew Israelite and non-Islamic tradition. Note, Prophet Noble Drew Ali's family were members of Moor's Zion's temple, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali did know Rabbi Honor Ford, who was a leader of the Moor's Zion's temple and the teacher of Chief Rabbi Whitworth Arthur Matthew. Ford taught both Amharic, Hebrew, Arabic, and Beth Benai Abraham congregations. What you think about that shit? What do y'all think about that? It's another brother you should know. Now, again, if you guys never heard this shit, man, write this down, because I'm about to wrap it up in about 10 more minutes. So write this stuff down, man. Secret societies, 3 ruffians, revealing the Masonic code. Write this shit down, man. Ain't nobody giving y'all this information. Chief Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew, Joseph ben Moshe, ben Yehudi, son of Yehudi, also given as Moshe ben David, was leader of the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews of Harlem. Matthew created a Masonic lodge called the Royal Order of Ethiopian Hebrews, the Sons and Daughters of Culture. The lodge functioned as a secret society where the initiates explored the branch of Jewish mysticism called the Kabbalah. Matthew was also a member of the UNIA under Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Right here. Right there. Now watch who came up out these lodges, though. Because we're still talking about the Masonic order. I didn't lose the narrative, y'all. The 3 ruffians and sons of Jacob. And I gave y'all what those 3 things was. Lies, deceit. Shit get deep, brother and sisters. It get deep. It gets deep. And I'm giving y'all some of the jewels, man. Truth must be exposed, man. Come on, man. This is before there ain't no more Science Temple at this point. Doesn't exist right now. It's coming, though. Pay attention. This is the guy right here. Y'all need to write down. Dr. Soliman Muhammad Write this guy down. If you've never heard of Dr. Soliman Muhammad, write down Dr. Soliman Muhammad right now. People, please write this guy down. Please write it down. Please write it down. Please write it down. If you've never heard of Dr. Soliman Muhammad before, then put y'all ass up on game right quick. Dr. Soliman Muhammad was an Egyptian, recognizing that at the time of Sudan, officially part of Egypt, he was an Arabic speaking. He worked as a minister. And he had immigrated at some point before October 1909, appearance possibly in 1908. Yet there has been founded a 1906 reference of a Black Baptist named Reverend Dr. P. Soliman from 1906, but whether this is the same figure as Prince D. Soliman is unknown. It says, see the Colored Baptist, The Sun, Baltimore, June 10th, 1906. The name of Suleiman's movement was the Canaanite Temple. Timothy Drew, Professor Drew, later known as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was a co-founder. Timothy Drew, Professor Drew, met him in Egypt and persuaded him to come to America. What did that say? Dr. Soliman from Egypt met up with who? Who became the co-founder with him? With him? The Egyptian adept student. I'm going to keep saying this shit. Y'all look into it. I don't care how you feel about it. It's okay. You personally butt sore behind the truth. Don't be ashamed. Embrace it. Learn it. The Egyptian adept student. So if he's the Egyptian adept student, I asked myself at one point in time, if he's the Egyptian adept student, then who's the Egyptian teacher? Dr. Soliman Muhammad was an Egyptian. The name of Solomon's movement was the Canaanite Temple. Timothy Drew, Professor Drew, later known as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was a co-founder. He met him in Egypt. So the story of Noble Drew Ali going to Egypt is true. He went to Egypt, but who did he meet in Egypt? This guy, Dr. Soliman Muhammad. And he got the fez on. And he looked like a what we call a Shriner, right? Looks like a Shriner. Let's read this real quick. According to Martin Bethel, Masons saw their religion as Egyptian, their sign as hieroglyphs, their lodges as Egyptian temples, and themselves as Egyptian priesthood. That's how Masons saw themselves. Dr. Soliman communicated to the group's head, Caesar R. Blake Jr., his demand for African-American Shriners community known as the ancient Egyptian Arabic Order of No Mystic Shrine to come under the protection of what he called the Mecca Medina Temple of ancient free and operative Masons from the 1st to the 96th degree true shrine. This is a newspaper article clipping right here. It's referring to Dr. Soliman. It says Egyptian ex-high priest declares there are no true Shriner amongst either colored or white Americans. Asserts as a necessity the oath coming from Mecca or Aleppo, Arabia, and adoption of Muslims swear by the beard of the prophet. There is not a legitimate real noble of mystic shrine, black or white, affiliated with the American Masonry, declared Dr. Abdullah Hamid Soliman, an ex-high priest from the city of Khartoum, Sudan, Egypt. Now, and for some time, past residing in New York. His present address was 2139 7th Avenue. So this brother said there are no true Shriners in America in the early 19. I told y'all 1888 to 1935. That's your time period. We're not gonna go past the time period. I promise you we won't. Now, why did he make the declaration about the white Shriners? Watch this. I think they were in New York. I want to say New York. Yeah. Yeah, they were in New York. 1872. I was hoping to get the, hold on. I'm trying to flip the image for y'all real quick. There we go. There we go. This we want to see right there. This we want to see. So Dr. Soliman came in and basically saying, ain't none of y'all legit. Black or white, ain't none of y'all legit. Not even these jokers. And these jokers were supposed the first ones to set up shrine. And we'll talk about the children later. They became something altogether later. About the Shriners, children, hospital, and all that kind of stuff. Who is put here to protect the Ali child. But Dr. Muhammad said, ain't none of y'all real. Black or white Shriners. Ain't none of y'all real. But he encouraged all the black Shriners at the time to fall under him. But he said that him and Noble Drew Ali was partners. So what happened to him and Noble Drew Ali? Let's read on. In 1922, after attending the African American Masonic Convention he held that month, Washington, D.C. at the convention, he formally presented himself to the leadership of the main faction of the African American shrine community known as the Ancient Egyptian Order of Noble Mystic Shrine. There, Soliman communicated to the group's head, Caesar R. Blake Jr., his demands for the order to come under protection, what was called then the Mecca Medina Temple of Ancient Free and Optimum Masons 1 through 96 degree, the true shrine, which in later interviews Soliman claimed have incorporated himself in New York through although he gave no date. Let's get to the nitty gritty. So he basically comes in making his decree, who he is. I, Abdullah Hamid Soliman of the city of Khartoum, Sudan, Egypt, a Mohammedan by birth, a Mohammedan, not Muslim. It was Mohammedan, or Mohammedanism at that time as well. The Quran just got printed. Hold on. By birth, master of the Quran, having pilgrimage to Mecca 3 times, thus because the eminent high priest and head of all Masonic degrees in Mecca, Arabia, from the 1st to the 96th degree, and now the United States for the purpose of establishing the rite of the ancient Arabic order of Noble Mystic Shrine. I am here to answer all questions relative to these degrees until I return home to Mecca to enroll the names of the true Shriners in this country. Patrick D. Bowen examined new evidence concerning the Canaanite temple that was active in Newark in 1923, and which may have influenced the MOI Science Temple. There it is. The converting of Negroes. Followers of Muhammad seek Negro convert. July 15th, Dr. Abdullah Hamid Soliman, a native of Arabia, says to have been the high priest of Mecca for several years. Dr. Abdullah Hamid Soliman, 143 West 130th Street, Manhattan, the high-ranking priest of Mecca. See, they put stuff in the newspaper. They didn't have no Twitter or Facebook back then. Everything went inside the newspaper. I'm trying to find one more part so I can cut it off. It is one last part. Let me just get to it, because I think it's important that we examine. So he's going on and on making this claim that all Masonic orders, everything should fall under him. Look, Dr. Abdullah Hamid of Egypt, guest of Harlem Masons. Y'all are saying this shit for yourself. Y'all are saying this shit for yourselves. I'm not making this up. And I'm gonna keep going back to this picture. Anytime y'all see a Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey. I'm gonna go back and read it again. Newspaper clipping, Dr. Abdullah Hamid of Egypt. There was a notable gathering of prominent Masons in the upper room of Craig's well-known hostelry, 192 West 30th Street on Friday night last to meet Dr. Abdullah Hamid of Qatar, Egypt, a 96-degree Mason and a Shriner at dinner attended by Brother Harold Knight himself, a Shriner amongst other. The party were worshipful Grand Master David W. Parker, Grand Worthy Secretary Arthur A. Archibald, Deuce Muhammad Ali. Write down Deuce Muhammad Ali, and let's learn who he is right quick. He's a very important person too. Muhammad ibn Emir Abdullah Khimir El was a Moroccan Ruffian, politician, military leader. He was a Moroccan sheikh who fought against Spanish and French in 2123. He helped establish the very first temple of Moors, the Canaanite temple, along with Dr. Soliman. He's the co-founder. From there, he received certain books and lessons and knowledge of thinking greater. And the Canaanite temple was first born from this union. It is said that Dr. Khalim El anointed Timothy Drew, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It was obvious, symbolic that Drew taken his place when El went back to Africa. Okay. Y'all mighty quiet in them comments. Y'all done got quiet as hell over there. Y'all, I didn't make this shit up. I'm showing y'all the newspaper articles and everything. Like I'm just drawing the timelines for y'all. And just maybe you didn't know about this stuff. And it's okay if you did not know about it. Universal Hagar Spiritual Church 1929 convention. The Moorish Science Temple had a 1928 convention. Noble Drew Ali flew a Moroccan flag with the American flag. Reverend Hurley flew a red, black, and green flag with the American flag. Notice. So this is the epitome of the RBG movement and the Moorish Science Temple movement. This is the both movements right here, born out of something greater. Father Divine. We could talk about Father Divine. We could talk about Sweet Daddy Grace. See? And when we talk about Father Divine and Sweet Daddy Grace, they're going to mention Noble Drew Ali, because this was a huge deal, a huge religious movement. And Masonry was one of those things that was considered to be religious. People still think Masonry is religious. People still think that. This is another person that met up with Noble Drew Ali. Y'all think Noble Drew Ali had the ability to just route all those people? I'm not saying he couldn't. Those are a lot of freaking people. All these people, man. And we can go on and on, but I'm going to yield the floor. Thank y'all for rocking with me, man. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with your boy, man. Again, if you did not receive that PowerPoint, please let me know. You guys want to make a contribution? The Cash App at the bottom of the screen. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for the time. Hope I didn't lose too many of y'all, man. I mean, I just be trying to draw the timelines. I do my best to connect the dots for everybody. That's what I try to do. Connect the dots for you. Hope you took notes, man. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Peace and light. Peace and love. I love all y'all, man. And you can do about it. Appreciate you again, y'all. Have a safe weekend. I'm tapping back in Sunday for Sunday school as well. So I'll see y'all Sunday, man. Peace and light.